Welcome back to 20-Side Adventures and my continuous coverage of Howl of the Wild. There is so much in this book. This is probably going to be close to another hour-long video as we're going to be going over the 6 new archetypes and the additions to the Beastmaster archetype, making it perhaps one of the most robust archetypes with enough feats to almost be a class unto itself. If you guys like these deep dives or the other class content I've been doing, I really appreciate a like and a subscribe down below. Don't forget to check out Beard Sorcery for your beard needs. Promo code in the description. And let's just get right into all of these awesome archetypes. Alright, let's try this again. Rookie mistake. I ran through this whole video and my mic wasn't on. So we're going to do it again. Went inside, took a shower, maybe a little less salty. We shall see. So we're going to get started with the Beastmaster archetype. First of all, if you are not playing with free archetype, I think you're doing Pathfinder wrong. Yes, I'm going to take that, hard line in the sand stance. It lets you develop fantastic characters on the players. Gives you a wide array of other options you can choose. Pathfinder is all about options. You should be using free archetype. Start if you're not. Okay, so Beastmaster is the first one in the book. Beastmaster is an existing archetype, but they've added on to it. It's already one of the most robust, and it got even more. So if you want an animal companion, you should be taking Beastmaster. It just makes the companion fully functional, and very similar to Pathfinder 1, honestly. I felt coming to 2 that animal companions got nerfed quite heavily, anything with the minion trait, really. I understand why. In Pathfinder 1, we were taking leadership and having animal companions, and there's just so many things clogging up the game. 2 definitely streamlines it, but it also felt like it really toned down what your animal companion could do. Beastmaster kind of eliminates some of that if you really want to lean into having a pet. All right, so first one, Spirit of the Beast. You get the Spirit of the Beast focus spell. We'll hit that up as we get to it. Next up, Bestial Protection. So this one's really cool. It doesn't take any actions, and the mere presence of your companion is enough to rattle those who attack you. So if a creature is adjacent to your animal companion, and it's smaller than your animal companion, and it hits you, they become frightened. No actions needed, just an effect that your animal companion kind of gives them that sideways look of how dare they do that, and they're a little disconcerted about it. Frightened 1. That's a great take. Nature's Precision. You gotta have Agile or Finesse unarmed attacks. And basically you're giving your animal companion 1d4 precision damage along with any other strikes as long as they're off guard, so you're getting sneak attack on your animal companions. Tenacious Endurance. So this is basically Ferocious? No, that's not it. I can't remember what it's called. Fury? Well, anyways, when you get knocked to 0 hit points and you're not wounded, you don't go down, you stay up with 1 Ferocity. That's what it is. So it gives Ferocity to your animal companion. They don't get KO'd. They stay up with 1 hit point, but they get the wounded condition. Do be careful. You could be gambling with your pet here a little bit. Pack Movement. This is a must-take, in my opinion, if you're going to be a Beastmaster or have an animal companion. You should dip into Beastmaster just to pick this up. So generally speaking, you have to spend 1 action to give your companion 2 actions. You end up with 4 across 2 characters versus the normal 3. It's an okay trade, but it definitely tones down having a companion because of the minion trait. Alternatively, you could take 3, and when you're high enough level, your companion just gets 1. You're still at 4 actions. It's okay. This lets you take a 2 action. You and your animal companion both stride, and if you end their movement within reach of the same creature, so you got to move towards the same one, you each get to take a strike, and then you would have 1 action left that you could command your companion to give it 2 more, or your companion has its 1 default and you have your 1 default. So you're really getting 6 actions across 2 characters for just that full, robust melee animal companion experience. So by far, I think one of the best takes for the Beastmaster in this change. Ferocious Charge. This gives basically charge to your animal companion. You get stride twice and then make an attack. Running Kick. Oh, I should say that does require to have antlers, horn, or some other head attacking feature. And you get to deal some additional damage if you move more than 20 feet. Running Kick. So this is if your creature has talons, hooves, and whatnot. Stride twice, make a hoof attack. Sinking Jaws. This one, the creature is grabbed or restrained in the jaws, and then the grabbed or restrained foe takes piercing damage, so you just get some free damage basically for something you've got held up. This is something with a jaw or fang attack. Basically, all these level 10s are built around what kind of attack your pet gets, and then there's an action you can give them. So for the tail attackers, you get Sweeping Tail. You make 2 tail strikes against different creatures. Multiple attack as normal. On a hit, it pushes the target back 5 feet, 10 feet on a critical hit, so you can kind of clear some space around your tail-focused companion. Vicious Rend, this is for your claws, fists, pincers, and other talons. Make 2 claw attacks. If both strikes hit, the target takes an additional 1d6 persistent damage. Bleed persistent damage. Then let's see, Billowing Wings, so this is for the wings creatures. You can gather up air and then cause a gust of wind in a ranged attack that deals 1d4 bludgeoning damage and 30 feet. On a critical hit, it also pushes the enemy back. For a level 12 feet, I'm not feeling it. Heightened Instincts, you've worked to sharpen your companion's instinct to a supernatural level. When one of your companions rolls a success on a saving throw, it gets a critical success. And that's any saving throw, so you just get to take all of their saving throws that all successes become crit successes. That is a good take. Pack Takedown, so you have to have multiple companions, which is something the Beastmaster can do. If, let's see, both active companions threaten the same creature, each of you make a melee strike against it. The creature is off guard against all 3 attacks. And if more than one hits, you combine all the damage for bypassing damage resistance or weaknesses. So 2 actions, 3 attacks. You can still command one of them, or they can take their 1 free action each, and then you get your free action. So realistically, you're getting 3, 4, 5, 6 actions again across 3 characters. Pretty decent. And then that focus spell, you basically heighten a specific aspect of your companion. So athletics, intimidation, demoralize, acrobatics, stealth, or hide, and perception, seek, survival, sense direction, and track all get a +1 status bonus. It heightens with level, and then it also boosts fort, reflex, or will saves, depending on which aspect you imbue your companion with, and it lasts for 1 minute, so that's a pretty good buff. Clawdancer archetype. So this one you have to have natural claws and claws on your feet. So this is ideally for like catfolk, or if you use the new crafting that we can find in the crafting section and weapons later on, to give yourself claws to be able to take this archetype. I also really appreciate this archetype because it has 2 different stances, and all of the feats weave you in and out of these stances, and I think that's a really fun mechanic. So you get 2 basic attacks from being in the Clawdancer dedication from a stance. So Claw Stance, which are 1d6 slashing from your hands. These get Agile, Finesse, Grapple, and the Unarmed traits, as well as Versatile. Or Talon, which is kicks with your feet. These give you 1d8 and are Finesse, Sweep, and the Unarmed trait. All right, so your first reaction, Claw Snag. A creature attempts to escape while you have them grappled. So you're going to be really focused on grappled in this. So they're trying to get away. Basically, you just sink your claws in and rake down. You shift into Claw Stance if you aren't in it, and then make a Frenzied Claw strike against the triggering creature. So you get a free attack when they attempt to break the grapple with you. And if you are in Talon Stance, it switches you to Claw Stance. Dashing Pounce next. So you're in Claw Stance and you have 2 open hands. With Burst of Speed, you leap into the air, slashing with your hands. You leap, and if you end your movement, so that's actually, you take the leap action. Adjacent to an enemy, you make 2 claw attacks, and apply your multiple attack penalty to these strikes normally. If both miss, you fall prone at the end of your leap. So, yeah, 2 actions, you get a move and 2 attacks. I always like things that give you more activity in the economy. Talon Sweep. So a creature attempts to strike you while it's flanking you. If the strike misses, you can make a spinning Talon strike against the creature, against any creature flanking you. So it doesn't have to be the one that attacked you. I also feel this trigger should be a creature misses you with a strike rather than attempts, because if you do it beforehand, but then they don't hit, you're going to wait to see if they hit. I think this one's kind of worded poorly. Abscission Shards. You twist your claw, breaking off a piece in your target. That shard deals 1d6 persistent bleed damage. This increases to 2d6 if you have greater striking runes, or if you're using automatic bonus progression. An interesting thing on this one, what if they're grafted claws? Do they still grow back? Do you lose the graft? Am I thinking too much about it? Probably. Wheeling grab, you cartwheel on your claws, dancing over your foes. Shift into claw stance, if you aren't already, and tumble through. If you move through an enemy space, you can grapple it. So a successful tumble through, you get a free grapple, and you get to shift stances, which if you have that claw snag for them when they try to get away, then you get those attacks. That is pretty cool. Hindquarter kick. You are in claw stance and you have to grab creature. You hold the prey's defensive limbs in place with your claws while delivering a swift kick to their unprotected sides. Shift into talon stance and make 2 spinning talon strikes against the grabbed creature. So you are basically doing that cat, grab the arm, and then just claw the crap out of them with your back feet. You then release the grabbed creature. 2 attacks. Multiple attack penalty as normal, but it's 1 action. Pretty solid. Spinning stand. So you're prone. You flare your legs around using the momentum to both lash out and return position. Enter talon stance if you aren't already. And make an attack. You don't make the -2 penalty while you're prone, so the prone penalty negated. You get to stand, and it doesn't trigger a reaction. And you can spend 2 actions doing this to make 2 attacks instead of 1. They have to be against separate targets. So prone doesn't mean anything. You get to ignore the penalty, you get to stand up without taking an attack of opportunity, and you can make up to 2 attacks. That's a solid take. Tear tendons. You rake into your opponents with 2 claws, cutting into their muscle, depriving them of needed strength. So you have to be in claw stance and have both open hands. Honestly, I don't ever see this archetype working with weapons. Probably synergizes really well with Monk. Just have to be careful of flourishes that crisscross, because you won't be able to do a lot of flurry of blows with a lot of these. Let's see. So you make 2 frenzied claw attacks against the same target, increasing the multiple attack penalty as normal. If both hit, the target must succeed a fortitude save or become enfeebled for 1 round. Enfeebled 2. And if it critically fails, it's enfeebled 2 for 1 minute. So pretty solid there. Feline dance. This is one of the few that requires catfolk. You're in either stance, and you fluidly move between the stances in the process of dodging. Roll your save twice, or roll your reflex save twice, because you're making a reflex save, and this is your reaction to it. It'll let you shift stances, and you get to roll twice and take the higher result. Hunting snag. So a creature within your reach takes a move action, or it leaves a square during a move action it's using. So you make a claw or a talon strike. If it's a critical hit, and the trigger is the move action, they stop their movement. And if it's a creature that left a square adjacent to you, you can step and follow them. So that's a pretty solid attack of opportunity with some bonuses. Springboard, use the power of your legs, lashing out to spring off of your foes and leap toward another. Your talon descending in a crescent. So this is, your previous action was a spinning talon strike, so you have to have been in the kicking stance. So you've made an attack, you're now making your second. You leap, which this doesn't trigger a reaction for the leap, so you get to hit them, then you're going to take a movement. And if you land within melee reach of an enemy, you can choose to make a spinning talon strike against them. So you've made an attack, you then leap off, make another one, get a move and a strike. Claw and talon flow. You're in either stance, and you fluidly shift between your stances. If you're using the attack associated with the stance, and then you switch to the other stance. So you hit them with one, move into the next. Can help you set up chaining other combos. Do be careful, this one is a flourish. Precise hooks. When you critically hit a target with a claw or talon, you can apply a critical specialization effect based on the stance you're in. For the claw stance, you're going to get the knife group effect, and for the talon stance, you're going to get the axe group effect. These effects are in addition to the claws or talon's normal critical specialization, so you're stacking 2 in there. That's pretty cool. Storm of Claws, 3 attacks. You lash out with your limbs like a beast that has fallen upon its first meal in days, and then back off to see your handiwork. Strike 3 times, with your multiple attack penalty increasing as normal. After each attack that hits and deals damage, you can step. This also doesn't say it has to be at the same person, so you could strike, step, strike, step, strike, step, assuming they all hit. You do have to be careful though. If the first one misses, nope, you could keep rolling. You just miss on the step. So pretty solid. Ostilli Host. This one I'm super excited about. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm disappointed it says Circe ancestry only. Really looking at it, I understand the fluff is it's to replace a damaged node on your Circe, but nothing really interacts with the Circe ancestry anywhere else. So at my table, if you want a little worm buddy, you can certainly have it grafted on. And in the game I get to play in, my DM has okayed me getting to play an Ostilli Host, so I'm gonna try it out. I'll let you guys know what I think of it after some playing around with it, but let's get into what it does. So basically, you take this little worm guy, you graft it onto yourself, and you gain Ostilli lore, and you get 2 abilities. Repel ambient magic, so you spend 1 action, your Ostilli glows green, which I want to point out, every ability it uses, it glows a different color. I think that's a lot of fun to play with. But this one gives you a +1 bonus to AC and saving throws against the next magical attack, and then it increases as you level. And then Spit Ambient Magic, once per round, you make an attack. Though it's not technically an attack because it's a saving throw, so you make a magic attack that deals 1d6 piercing damage with a basic reflex save, and it scales as you level. This can be really good. 2 actions as normal. You don't want to take the -10. Here is a nice, simple action to do that'll do a little bit more damage and have a higher chance of hitting. Soothing pulse. Sorry, guys, this allergy is just clogging up the face, so I apologize for the mispronunciations and struggling with speaking. But this one gives you the administer ambient magic. So the Ostilli pulses lavender, and you regain 2d4 hit points and can immediately attempt a flak check to remove persistent bleed damage with the DC reduced to 10. The healing scales every 4 levels. Tactile magic feedback. You gain an imprecise sense to know, known as spell sense. So you have a 60-foot range of detecting creatures capable of casting spells and a +2 bonus to recall knowledge checks about creatures you're detecting with spell sense. Versatile mutation. So this changes your spit magic, and this lets you change the damage from piercing to bludgeoning or slashing. And at 8th level, it can you can choose acid, cold, electricity, fire, or sonic. So you can lean into doing that. If you take this feat a second time at 16, you can do 2 energy types for those available. So basically, if you want to do fire and ice damage together, you can do that. Cloaking pulse. So this one's pretty neat. Basically, your Ostilli becomes translucent, and you get invisibility. Deflecting pulse. This one gives you turn aside ambient magic. Your Ostilli grows a faint yellow as it makes a barrier. Choose an elemental damage type, so acid, cold, electricity, fire, or sonic. Until the beginning of your next turn, you gain resistance against that chosen damage equal to half your level. Propulsive mutation. Your spit magic is increased to 60 feet. Chaining mutation. This gives a ricochet strike to your spit magic, so you can choose a second target within 20 feet of the first, and they are also hit with it. Deadly mutation. The dart gets bumped to d8s, and if they critically fail their save, they take 1d6 persistent bleed damage, or the type of damage if you have an energy type from above. Spell swallow. So this one, it turns... What color does it turn? Cyan, and as a reaction, you get to do a counteract using your Arcana or Nature check. Spraying mutation, this turns your spit into a 15-foot cone instead of a single target. Cellular reconstruction is a reaction, and once per day, you can regain hit points equal to your level, and for the next 2 rounds, you start your turn regaining hit points equal to half your level. So you get some fast healing in there. This one, what color does it turn? Doesn't say it turns, but it does take over your nervous system. So, that symbiote's helping out. Swarmkeeper. So you get this one from Pathfinder 1, got ported over. This is for when you've really wanted to have a bunch of bugs crawling all over you and have a swarm for a companion. Yeah, super gross. While outside your body, it's large and it has a 15-foot movement speed. It can occupy the same space. It uses your statistics for defense, but it's immune to all the stuff that swarms are immune to. Though any damage dealt to the swarm is dealt to you instead. Though you only take the damage once if it AoEs both you and the swarm. So a bunch of little interesting things on how the swarm works. Be sure you read into that. You get the Swarm Fourth, which releases your swarm. You can sustain it for up to 1 minute. When it ends, the swarm disperses and takes 1 minute to, scurry back into their home on your body. And then they have the Bite and Sting action. 1d4 piercing damage with a basic reflex save. Not super great out the gate, but there's other things you can add to it here to really magnify that swarm. Aphid Flash, once per round. You have light bugs that are inside the swarm. Everyone inside the swarm has to take a fortitude save against your class DC or become dazzled. The swarm also then emits light like a torch. Fire Ant Sting. So if you have fire ants in your swarm, gross. It's a single action to use them. Each creature in the swarm must succeed a fortitude save against your class DC, or they take 1d6 persistent poison damage. And if they critically fail, they're enfeebled 1. This increases at level 8 and every 4 levels after. Weaver's webs, so you have spiders in there. They're making difficult terrain, and anyone that ends in the webs must succeed a reflex save or be immobilized until they escape. And then the swarm is immune to its own webs. Distracting bites. So anyone who's being attacked by your swarm and has taken damage is off guard against any strikes you make. So that can combine really with any class. You have a weird fighter with the swarm inside. That can be handy, or a rogue getting your sneak attacks because your swarm's helping you. Mobile swarm, so you increase the speed by 20 feet. Carried with the swarm, when your swarm moves, they take you with you. If they're flying, however, and you don't have fly, they drop you and you fall prone. Well, it doesn't say fall, or it doesn't say prone, but you do fall. I wonder what that actually means. Need some more looking into that. Sportal Boar Choke. This is gross. So there's these nefarious sportal boars. They hide in your food and then crawl into your throat when you eat your food. Like, I might torment my party with that, not gonna lie. Each creature takes 44 piercing damage, depending on the fortitude save against the higher of your class DC. The damage is increased by 1d4 at 10th level and every 2 levels after that. On a critical success, you're unaffected. Success, half damage and sickened as you spit out the sportal boars. It doesn't say for 1 round, but I feel with like the spitting out and a success, it is sickened for just 1 round. I think that needs eroded or clarified. Failure, full damage, and you're sickened 1. Maybe you're just sickened 1 no matter what. And the success is just half damage. Give me your thoughts on that in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Critical failure, double damage, and sickened 2. Actually, the way Sicken works and the spitting them out, I bet you that is an action, just like you would be to remove Sicken. You vomit and get the bugs out. So, okay. Veil of Bugs. The swarm is dense, blotting out vision. You and your allies gain lesser cover when you're in the swarm's spaces, but not your enemies. So, interesting note there. The bugs know who to cover and who not. Buzzing Death Cisadas. Inclusion of Death Cisadas gives them a fly speed of 20 feet. They can do the Death Drone action. Each creature within your swarm space takes 64 mental damage and must attempt a will save. Critical success, unaffected. Success, half damage. Failure, frightened 1. -2 penalty to perception checks that require healing. And critical failure, double damage, frightened 2, and deafened. Till the start of the next turn. Expand swarm. You can turn them huge. So you can just have a massive swarm of bugs. Thlipit Contestant. So this you have to have some large appendage, tentacle, tail, tongue, whatever it may be. With that flexible appendage, you get a lash attack, 1d4 bludgeoning, and it has the grapple and reach traits. First feet, fly, swat. You get to ignore the damage resistance on melee attacks of swarms. The Lassoing Lash. You have to be trained in athletics. They can't be more than one size larger than you. You wrap your lash around an opponent and pull them toward you. Attempt an athletics check against Fortitude DC. You pull the target to any open space adjacent to you on a critical success. On a success, you pull the target to the nearest open space. Failure, you misjudge and fall prone. Oh, I'm sorry, that's critical failure. Failure, you just miss. If you have Titan Wrestler, you can target a creature up to 2 sizes larger than you, or up to 3 sizes larger if you're legendary in athletics. Powerful Lash, you've learned to swing your lash even faster, up into D6s. Snap Falling Fruit, so this is basically, you can help deflect a ranged attack. As a reaction, give someone a +2 bonus. Levered Swing, you have to be a master in athletics. Basically, you get to wrap your tongue, tail, tentacle, whatever the appendage is, around a railing or other solid object, and you get to fly up to your speed, and you use whatever you're anchoring to as a pivot point on how you're moving around. So that can be kind of interesting on its movement. Slurp Up, you can reach out and drink someone else's potion, as long as it isn't like in a pouch or on a bandolier. If it's out and in someone's hand. And then if it's by an unwilling creature, you have to succeed on a check of an unarmed attack or a thievery modifier, and you can drink the contents of whatever they're holding. Next up, Tail Guard. So this one's kind of cool. Enemies who attempt to stab you in the back, so if they move into flanking position, you can make a melee strike against them. If it's a critical hit, you stop their movement so they don't get into the flank. Slingshot Maneuver. An ally moves within range of your appendage. You can do this to grab them and hurl them forward, giving them an extra 15 feet of movement. Reflexive Grapple. You've honed your reflexes so when lash can begin closing around target as soon as it makes contact. Make a strike. If the strike hits, you can immediately attempt to grapple the target. Both actions count towards multiple attack penalty, but doesn't increase your penalty until both attacks are made. So you get to make that grapple attempt at your full modifier, assuming it's your first attack that hits them. Spinning Release. This is a 3 action where you basically twirl them up and let them go like a top. The opponent has to make a Fortitude save. You send them 10 feet when you do this. On a failure, the target is confused at the end of your next turn, until the end of your next turn. They are then temporarily immune for 10 minutes. On a critical failure, the target is sickened as well. Whirling Clobber. This is another one you have them grappled up. It's 3 actions, and you basically have them wrapped up and start using them to hit their friends. Make a melee strike against each enemy within your melee reach. Your last attack must be against the grabbed creature, and you gain a circumstance bonus to your attack roll equal to the number of enemies you've slammed them into to a maximum of +3. So realistically, if you have a ton of creatures in range, you can hit all of them with this attack. Yeah. Each attack counts as your multiple attack penalty, but doesn't increase until you've made all the attacks. So you could get 4, 5, 6 full panel or full bonused attacks. Pretty awesome. Werecreatures. So this is pretty exciting. This is a dedication, so you could be a beastkin Werecreature. Kind of interesting. How you become a Werecreature is important to a few of these feats. So if you're Trueborn or afflicted with curse, you get the change shape, which will let you shift into your hybrid form or a full animal form based on what kind of werewolf you are. And if you're a beastkin, you get to keep their hybrid attack when you are in the hybrid form. Feats. Animal Fleetness. You get a bonus to your animal move speed when you're transformed. Beastkin Reliance. So if you are a beastkin, you get to ignore the silver weakness as a Werecreature. Feral Senses. You can add low light vision or imprecise scent. Well, it's not or, it's and. Kind of bummer that's a feat take. I feel when you become the animal, you should kind of get those for free, but it is what it is. Now we're going to have a bunch of attacks that are dependent on your Werecreature. So this is for Weremoose, where you do an Antler Rush, stride twice, and if you end your movement within reach, you can do a disarm, shove, or a strike with your antlers. Bear Hug for the Werebears. You had to have done a claw attack, then you can take this 2 action where you make another claw strike, and if it hits, you get to grab them for free. Death Roll. So this is if you're a crocodile or a Werecrocodile, you do a corkscrew with your body, attempt a jaw strike against a grabbed creature, so you have to have them grabbed already. And you get a +2 bonus if you're fighting in water. If the strike hits, you knock the creature prone. If it misses, they escape your grab. Echolocation for the werebats. You can use your hearing as a precise precise sense with a range of 40 feet. Fearful Symmetry. So this is for the Were Tiger. This one's pretty awesome. When you critically succeed a strike with an unarmed attack, you attack with such feline grace and captivating beauty that all enemies within 30 feet must make a will save, or they become frightened one and fascinated. Here's the coolest part. Hostile actions don't end this fascination for that one round, so it doesn't make fascination useless when your party starts hitting people. Here's a list of all the Werecreatures. We got bat, bear, boar, crocodile, moose, rat, shark, tiger, and wolf. Moose sounds terrifying. Oh, sorry. Your allies do still remove the fascination, but your actions don't. So if it's your first action, that'd be your second action. So I guess your third action you can take without removing the fascinate. Feeding Frenzy. This is for the Were Shark. When you critically hit with your jaws, you deal 1d4 persistent bleed damage as well, and you get a bonus to your scent to tracking those people that are bleeding. Pack Attack. So this is for the werewolves. If you have more than 2 allies attacking the same creature, you get to deal an additional 1d4 precision damage. Plague Rats. This is for the Were Rat. You get to infect people. Basically, it prevents them from healing normally. They have to make a fortitude save whenever they heal after this affects them. Success, as normal. Failure, they only get half the hit points back. And on a critical failure, they get no hit points back. And that's a fortitude save. Rushing Boar, it's for the boar, the wereboar. I didn't think this one was very good, but when you get, when a creature adjacent to you does damage to you, that isn't adjacent, so some far away hits you, you get to take a stride in a straight line toward the triggering creature. It doesn't negate attacks of opportunity, so you're still incurring all of that, and you just get a free move up to whatever hit you. I'm not a big fan of that one. Cornered Animal, you're in your animal or hybrid, and you are flanked. You are dangerous when you are surrounded. Make unarmed strikes against 2 different creatures. These attacks take a -2 penalty unless they are agile. Both attacks count towards your multiple attack penalty, but it doesn't increase until after you've made both attacks. Feral Mending, when you change shape. Now this one you have to be a natural Werecreature. But when you shapeshift, you get to heal for 1d6 hit points, and this increases every 2 levels. Terrifying Transformation. This is only if you're cursed, and when you transform, everyone within 30 feet gets a demoralized check to frighten them with your horrific transformation. You don't smell right. This is designed so you can detect other Werecreatures or just anyone with a disguise on. The GM makes a perception roll in secret to let you know if you detect any of that. And if you're actively seeking a creature within the range of your scent that you think is hidden or disguised, you get a +2 bonus on it. Dire Growth. I think this one's really cool. Your animal shape is not small, so you have to be at least medium. And when you shapeshift, you can do this instead for a 2 action and have the effects of enlarge as well when you shift into that animal shape. Feral Lunge. This is when you're in your hybrid or your animal state and you have to have fangs or jaw attacks. But you stride up to 10 feet and you can make a jaw strike or a claw strike. If you are hidden, when you make this move, you get to keep the hidden benefit to make that attack. Feral Scramble. This is animal shape. When you're in your animal shape or your hybrid attack, you have to have claws. Sinking your claws in, you propel yourself at shocking speed. You climb up to your land speed and make a claw strike. So you're going up the mountain and you are, you're going up the tree that your people are hiding from you, and you get to attack them. If you succeed in your climb DC with an athletics check, you get to maintain your position. If you fail, you slide down 60 feet or to the ground without taking falling damage. Feral Toss, so if you've got horns, you hurl your foes with a shake of your head, strike with an antler, horn, or tusk attack. If you hit and damage a creature of your size or smaller, push it 5 feet or 10 on a critical hit. Touch of Lunacy. You partially infect others with your curse. Whenever you critically succeed an unarmed attack, the target must attempt a fortitude save of your class DC or your spell DC or become clumsy 2 as they begin to morph and warp as their bones elongate. So, like, they start to partially shift. Sounds really disconcerting if that suddenly happened to you. Pouncing transformation. By transforming as you move, you attack from odd angles, you change shape, or dismiss your change, and then stride. Any creature adjacent to you at the end of your movement is off guard until your next turn. So you get a move action and a shapeshift action for one, and you make someone off guard when you land next to them. Pretty awesome. Shared Tide, you have to have a swim speed. When you move twice your normal distance, so you can swim twice, and any ally you pass within 30 feet gains your swim speed until the beginning of your next turn. Undying Beast. This again, as long as it's non-silver damaged, reduces you to 0 hit points. You can stay up with... Nope, I'm sorry, that isn't what this does. You just auto-stabilize. You gain the wounded condition as normal. Did I get that right? Yeah. So you reduce to 0 hit points, but you auto-stabilize as long as it wasn't from silver. Wings of the Moon, you stay aloft with your fly, normally when using fly speed in your animal shape, letting you fly long distances. So Werbat, you can't keep flying, you have to land on a solid surface. This lets the Werbat keep flying. Scarred Hide, you've been cut up so much in your werewolf form that you are now resistant to non-silver slashing damage equal to half your level. Rapid Hybridization, and when you roll initiative, you can just shift into your hybrid shape as a free action. Force of Nature, you're nigh unstoppable killing machine with only silver able to quell your rampage. When in hybrid or animal shape, you gain the fast healing 5. If you take damage from silver, your fast healing is deactivated until the end of your next turn. All right, Wild Mimic. So this lets you live out your dream of being Gao from Final Fantasy VI. You have to recall knowledge on a creature or witness them using a variety of different abilities to be eligible to take any of these feats. So if you haven't seen someone do the feat or do the action, you can't take the feat. When you take the dedication, you get Wild Mimic lore and a +1 to it to recall knowledge against creatures to gain these abilities. Ferocity Mimicry, you've seen someone use Ferocity, so you, again, reduce 0 hit points. You pop up with 1, take the wounded condition, you're still in the fight, so you can do that as a reaction if you've seen another animal do it. Rend, you've made 2 successful attacks. Instead of taking a third attack, you can use Rend and just deal free damage. Electrogenesis, something has attacked you that has electric damage associated with it. You do the same, you deal an additional 1d12 electric damage. And they have to make a fortitude save or become clumsy 1, clumsy 2, or clumsy 3. Only a critical success will save them. Primal Proportions, you can enlarge yourself. Wild Speech, you have to have animal empathy, and you can talk to animals and gain a +1 bonus to make impressions with them. Environmental Adaptability, you can choose hot or cold each day when you wake up and not be affected by 1 step of severe heat or severe cold. Petrifying Gaze, if you've seen someone use Petrify, you can now do it yourself. You pick a creature within 30 feet, they have to take a fortitude save. This can only be done every 1d4 rounds like a breath weapon. If they succeed, creature is slowed 1. If they fail, slowed 1 and immobilized for 1 round unless it escapes. And they are then, on a critical failure, slowed 2 for 1 round and immobilized indefinitely until they escape. Trample Mimicry, gain the Trample feat. Once you've seen someone do it, if you're unfamiliar with that is, you make, I believe it's 2 movements. Yeah, double your speed, and everyone you move through takes 3d12 bludgeoning damage, or it has to make a reflex save. Roar Mimicry, so you've seen someone use an audible kind of roaring ability. It doesn't say specifically which one, so any really works. You do a 15-foot emanation, you do 8d6 sonic damage, and they have to make a fortitude save. Critical success, nothing happens. Success, half damage. Failure, they take full damage and are stunned 1, and if they are adjacent to you, they are also deafened for 1 round. On a critical failure, double damage, stunned 2, and they're deaf for 1 minute if they were adjacent to you. Pounce Mimicry, you do have to be in light armor to do this. You've seen someone use Pounce. You now get to do it. You stride and then strike. Let's see, if you were hidden when you did this, you get to remain hidden for the stride portion of it, so 1 action to get to move and attack. Emergency regeneration, you've been hanging out with some trolls and you've seen regeneration. You can basically cast 7th rank regenerate, and at 20th level it moves up to 9th rank. Alright, last one, Winged Warrior. So you have to have wings. You have to have a fly speed and permanent wings. They can be grafted on. However, you can make horizontal leaps, and that distance is increased by 10 feet up to a maximum of your speed. And then any fly speed granted by an ancestry feat or other permanent wings is increased by 5 feet. Battering wings. So they're not powerful. You get a wing attack, 1d4 bludgeoning damage. They're part of the brawling group, but they are agile, finesse, and the unarmed traits. Gusting spells. You manipulate the current of your spell's energy, allowing you to gracefully glide with your wings. If your next action is to cast a spell with the air electricity trait, you can fly up to 10 feet before or after you cast the spell. So that could be a pretty cool way to move around the board while dishing out some magic. Wing bounce. You rush forward, flapping your wings for a bit of a lift, and can use that momentum to knock down a foe. Leap. And if you land within melee reach of at least one enemy, you can attempt to trip that enemy. You don't need to have a hand free, and if you successfully knock the target prone, you can leap again. So, leap, attack to knock prone, leap again. If you have a fly speed, you can actually fly instead of leaping on that. So that's actually really good. So if you have a higher fly speed, you can fly, bounce, fly again. Pretty solid. Sunbird glare, so keeping your feathers clean and sleek, you can catch the light across your wings to create startling glare in the eyes of a creature within 20 feet. Pick a target within 20 feet, fortitude save, or they become dazzled for 1 round, 1 minute on a crit failure. You can only do it once as they become immune to it. Feathered flechettes, this is once per day, but you just go like whoosh, and shoot all of your feathers out in a 15-foot emanation. I guess it's everywhere, so I guess it would be out rather than that way. I digress. 66 slashing damage, basic reflex save. This increases based on your striking runes, so if you have hand wraps, it applies to these. Or if you're doing automatic rune progression, just buy some hand wraps so you get this damage bonus. 10d6 or 16d6, so pretty decent AoE attack. Once per day, though. Pluck from the sky, so this is a Tengu, Strix, or an awakened animal that is a flying animal. Basically, you get to make a strike against a flying creature. If it deals damage, the target must attempt a reflex save, or they fall. 15 feet on a success, 30 feet on a failure, but they don't take damage if it hits the ground. And critical failure, they take falling damage. Wing shove. You're flanked by 2 enemies. You spread your wings and attempt to hit both. So you make a shove on one flanking enemy, and then make a second shove against a different enemy. You don't need a hand free. The second shove has the same multiple attack penalty as the first, so you're assumedly, if this is your first action, you're getting it at full. On a success or a critical success, you can stride after a target, but that target is also off guard until the beginning of your next turn. On a critical failure, you are off guard at the beginning of your next turn instead of falling prone, which you're flanked, so you're already off guard. Yeah, no risk there. Might as well. Falcon Swoop. So you currently have a fly speed. 2 actions. You get to fly twice. At any point during this movement, you can make a strike against 1 enemy within reach, within the first range increment of your weapon, and that enemy is off guard if the attack is coming from above. Redirecting Draft. So someone makes a ranged strike against you that's physical. You shoot your wing out, get some air current, knock the arrow off course. A couple of those in this. Smooth Hover. Once per hour, you're airborne at the end of your turn. You remain airborne. You don't fall, even if you didn't use a fly. So if you're gliding or doing something else, you can pretend you're flying for 1 round, once per hour. Thunderous Landing. Time to do a superhero landing.
You're gonna do a superhero landing. Wait for it. Woo! Superhero landing. Yeah, that's really hard on your knees. Totally impractical. They all do it.
You hurl enemies away with the force of your landing. End your movement from flying on a solid surface. Your landing sends a shockwave of air. Each creature within 10 feet of your landing position must succeed a reflex save against your class DC or be pushed 10 feet away. This is forced movement. Keep an eye out. This will affect friendlies as well. Bombing run. If you have chemical bombs, you get to carpet bomb people. Makes 10 feet radius for your splash damage instead of 5. You also get to fly. Your fly action will also let you draw a bomb, so you get 2 actions for 1 there if you don't have the Alchemist free bomb draw. Cratering drop. So this harkens back to that pluck from the sky. This augments it, but you follow up with the flying enemies. So you fly straight down, grabbing onto them to just pile drive them into the ground with a flying attack. If you reach the ground, so you get to add your fly movement to their falling from that previous effect. So if they dropped 30 feet, they haven't hit the ground, you follow them, and then you get to add your movement speed in and drive them to the ground. If you reach the ground, deal double the normal falling damage. Sonic Strafe, you're going to do a Sonic Boom. So you go flying by, you take two movements to fly twice. Any creature that is adjacent to you at any point during your movement will take 10d6 sonic damage with a fortitude save. On a critical failure, they are deafened for 1 hour. All right, that's all the archetypes. I think there's a lot of great ones in here. It's a lot of fun. I think archetypes is, frankly, one of the best parts about Pathfinder, which is why you got to play with free archetype to give your players the most customization and the most robust character building experience. Players, pick archetypes that make sense for the character you're building. Make it thematic. Make it part of the story. Don't pick things that don't make sense. Have a reason for why you've chosen these archetypes and the way you're going. Make it part of your story. All of your character building should also be part of your roleplay and storytelling. All right. Enjoy these, guys. Let me know what you think of these videos in the comments. Have a wonderful time on your 20-sided adventures. We'll see you next time.